next door to me.
Tracy, please come back. Well, you ask a question.
There's a theater right next door to my house. I'm next to the Severos Library in the Archbishop's Palace. They are doing a production tonight, and it's very loud. So I may just mute myself occasionally. There's a section where they're really shouting in the middle of the play, but hopefully we're finished before they get to that. So just a warning.
No live can go without hiccups, so don't worry about it. Thanks, Tracy, for joining us. Panayotis, Philimis, thank you very much for coming into the World Business Angel Investors Week. Mr. Marios Tannousis, CEO of Invest Cyprus, welcome.
Thank you.
Panis, Peris, thank you very much for joining us. And here's the second hour for the World Business Angel Forum. This year, this is the first time that Team Cyprus has access to this global event, and we had allocated 120 minutes. In the first part of our event, we present three companies to a global audience: Upiria in travel management, Historia in AR, VR touristic experience, and InnoCyprus as a platform that through entrepreneurship and startup life, we can reduce conflict. And this is the second part, the second hour that we have allocated for to this event, to create a roundtable with the topic about why our country, Cyprus, is a very good tech hub destination, a bridge between Middle East, Africa, Arabia, Asia, and the European Union. And today we have our esteemed panelists, starting from Mr. Marios Tannousis, the CEO of Invest Cyprus. Mr. Mario, do you want to tell us a little bit more about what the mission and the objective of Cyprus Invest is all about?
Sure. Thank you, Sodiris, and good evening to all our audience, wherever they are across the globe. Invest Cyprus is the national investment promotion organization of the Republic of Cyprus, and it has a threefold mandate. First is the attraction of high specialization companies and talent in priority industries, such as the technology and anything which is tech related and innovation. Second is the attraction of greenfield investments in major projects in renewable energy, in digital infrastructure, health, education, and tourism. And also the promotion and attraction of regulated entities in the financial services and so-called fintech space, investment funds, fund management, and related services. Now, how we do that? We do events, we do organize events in other countries across the globe. For example, the last 2 months, we have been in Finland, we have been in Luxembourg, we have been in London, and more countries are coming up in the months coming up. And we do showcase, of course, the advantages of doing business in Cyprus, the incentives, and we highlight the investment environment. This is the promotion part. Then after that, there is a part of the aftercare, which means we not only try to help the companies in what they would like to set up in Cyprus and launch their operations in Cyprus, but we stay with them all the way in expanding and having growth through Cyprus in also other high growth markets. The other important, if I may say, mandate of Invest Cyprus is the reforms suggestion. We do analyze the legal regulatory framework, and we see if there is a necessity to further enhance it in order to further help growth and investment. we do make suggestions to the lawmakers to either amend or introduce new legislation wherever is needed. So in a nutshell, promotion, advocacy, support, and enhancement of the investment environment, it's our business. We deal with it every day. And I'm pleased to say that over the last 5 years, based on the plan that we started just before the pandemic, 2018, the 5-year plan, we have been able to facilitate and attract in Cyprus quite a number of important multinational companies, especially in the technology sector, but also in other sectors. The government has introduced 3 rounds of incentives targeted to foreign investors and also to highly specialized talent for these companies and investments that come into the country, so that we have a balance, not only incentives for companies, but also incentives for the employees of these companies. So in a nutshell, this is what we are doing, and it's aligned to the vision of 2035 of the government, which basically says we aim to transform Cyprus into one of the world's best places to live, work, and do business. This,
and I can testify on that one after living 20 years abroad, coming back into my own home country. It feels great with the YESI and the medical care and the quality of living. So thank you very much, Mr. Marios, for introduction of Investing Cyprus. Panayotis Philimis is the CEO of the largest research organization, private research organization of Cyprus. So Panayotis, if you would like to share your biography a little bit.
Yeah, thank you, Sudiri. Cyprus, basically the Cyprus Research and Innovation Center, is a private company, started its operations in 2013, just a couple of months after the financial crisis, with the aim to help the ecosystem to bring technologies from the research level into the market. Also, as SARIC, we develop our own technologies, but at the same time, we help startups and SMEs. Since 2016, SARIC is the National Certified Business Innovation Center, as we call it European BIC, from the EBN network based in Brussels. EBN is also the only organization in the world that certifies business innovation center, which has as a primary goal to assist startups and SMEs and support them both in business and innovation. So most of these organizations, they have incubators. In 2016, we started our incubator called Gravity Ventures. So it's a venture building incubator. We accept startups from around the world. In fact, more than almost 70% of our applications every year, they are not from Cypriot founders. They are coming mainly from the region, MENA region, I would say. Now, as SARIC, what we do, it's important to say that beyond the support of startups, which we invest and support, so we have a traditional model for incubation. At SARIC, we develop also technologies in the area of biotech, diagnostic devices, in the area of drones, robots, also in the sector of IoT, and all this knowledge and for developing from the design to the manufacturing, we provide this also to our startups. It's important to say that Cyprus also as a hub, as a technology hub, it's very important to say the infrastructures that are here in Cyprus. So from our side as SARIC, we can provide at the prototype level very fast assist the startups to develop their prototypes, which is one of the most important aspects, especially on the hardware level. So when you are trying to build a new robot, especially biomedical devices, diagnostic devices, that they have very advanced photonics technology. We have infrastructures to help the startups to develop their prototypes. I will say also that as CyRIC, we approximately help around 100 to 150 companies every year. And we're not talking about that they come to us to assist them and guide them actually where they should go, because sometimes we are not able to help them. So we act also as supporting the whole ecosystem. So if a company, let's say, comes from another country and are interested to build their, let's say, a company here in Cyprus, we will provide them different contacts, either to Invest Cyprus or other, let's say, service providers. So we act also beyond the help to startups, which when we say help, that means we have spent substantial amount of time to provide them services. And I think for startups that they are coming from either Europe or the area, Cyprus is also an ideal place, especially for those that are coming, let's say, from third countries. I think Mr. Tannousis will give some more information about the incentives. But I would like to give the perspective that as CyRIC and as Gravity Incubator, we have also the full support of EBN, and that means we get support from the whole EBN network. Just to say that there are approximately 150 organizations, 110 are certified. And just to give you the impact that this network has, we basically, the startups we help and the companies we help is around 20,000 per year for the whole network. And from the metrics we do every year, we come up with that more than 1 billion euro are invested, let's say, to the startups that are incubated by the business innovation centers of this network. So you can imagine that when we want to connect startups that are based in Cyprus to, let's say, connect them with corporate, let's say, in France or in Portugal or somewhere or in Denmark, we have collaborators there that they can assist us and they can provide this connection. So as we call it, scaling up services, internationalization services. And at this moment, EPN also has a network beyond just Europe. So we have also in US now, in Brazil, in China. So connecting, let's say, startups, but maybe based in Cyprus, to connect them not only just in Europe through the network, but also elsewhere. Also, as CyRIC, we're also members of the Business Angel Europe, which has really a very big network. Again, there we can assist startups to and prepare them also for investment. Just to say that at Gravity, we accept and help startups at the early stage. I would say it's also a unique selling proposition, especially the deep tech, but also can help also startups that they want to go to the raising of, let's say, of investment. Again, through our network, EBN network, we can introduce them to various other incubators and, let's say, even growth accelerators, where they're more, let's say, specialized in specific sectors, where basically there exists much, let's say, bigger corporates. Corporates, for example, we in Cyprus may have shipping and fintech corporates, but we don't have, let's say, corporates in aviation, big corporates. So through our network, we can introduce the startups in order to start making, let's say, their first connection with big corporates, to do their first revenues, their first agreements. So this is a very important network, and we are part of it, and we're actually even at the, let's say, at the center of this organization and working very closely with EBN.
Thank you very much, Panayotis, for the introduction into what CyRIC and Gravity does. We can elaborate a little bit later on those things. Tracy, are you online as well? If you can briefly introduce yourself into this panel.
Sure. My name is Tracy Spaight. From California, but I've been living and working in Cyprus for almost 10 years now. First as the director of special projects at Wargaming, and since then in a Korean-based startup, and now a company I've put together called Historia to do sort of cultural heritage tours using AR on smartphones. My background, I'm a historian by training, also an educator, but I'm a technologist. I've been quite interested in technology for the last 20 years. That's about how long I've been in the game industry. And in that time, I've also done many projects in augmented reality, virtual reality, mixed reality projects, and more recently also blockchain. I did a degree here at the University of Nicosia in blockchain and digital currencies. Just happened to be right here. Fantastic program, learned quite a lot of interesting things there. And so I've been in the blockchain space really since almost 10 years, very early into the space, because the technology I found quite fascinating. And yeah, since I've been living in Nicosia, I've been fascinated by the diversity of different like entrepreneurial folks and technologists here. Thanks to wargaming and other companies, I've created sort of a hub of real expertise in these spaces and providing also young people with a ladder up to get into careers in both gaming or gamification or other sorts of things. So it was, yeah, a bit of a surprise after moving out of a place like, you know, Silicon Valley and that hub, but it's quite active here too.
Thank you very much, Tracy, for the introduction. And I keep the part that you mentioned about the University of Nicosia and their blockchain program, because I think is the only one in the whole world that offers such a special program on blockchain. It's another first of Cyprus. University of Nicosia blockchain program is the only program in the world that you can get certified on the blockchain technologies. Something very small but very important to mention. Panis, thank you very much for accepting to join into this panel. If you can very quickly introduce yourself.
Yes, hi, many thanks, Sodiris, for reaching out for this event. And I'm Panis, a startup blogger, podcaster, journalist. I'm monitoring the Cypriot ecosystem from day one, around 2013. I used to have the biggest blog, Disrupt Cyprus, about startups innovation. The last 2 and 3 years, I'm monitoring also. I started monitoring more other ecosystems, also like the Greek ecosystems and other regional ecosystems, trying to get some interesting stories out of this. I used to, until recently, I was doing day-to-day blogging journalism in local mainstream media, but right now I'm starting again my own blog that will be starting with podcasting, mostly more about the video. We live in a world that the video is king right now. So we want to showcase Cyprus, maybe Greece, and the region to other globally. That will be the goal. Yeah, I mean, our ecosystem, I believe it's the Cypriot ecosystem has, I think, has all the elements right now to start growing. Because a few years back we were missing some elements. We're missing the venture capital fund. We had less angel investors. I believe now we have a big ecosystem that also involves also the expats, expat people like Tracy, like other entities, other nationalities that they work here in Cyprus. For example, there was a company, there was a founder that sold to I think AR studio in Snapchat for 160 million each. There was companies that they did IPOs. If we take it, Viber was a Cypriot company when it was bought by Rakuten. Okay, it had some also operations in Cyprus, but I believe we're in a good position now, expanding also our IT talent, as Mario said, and we're expanding also that through some initiatives from the government. We know that the Cypriot population is too small. We need to bring people. We need to bring tech talent from other countries to Cyprus. I believe we have the best location about this in terms of lifestyle, of the sun. For example, I live like 2 minutes out next to the sea. Anybody can work here, can stop for 20 minutes, go have a bath, come back. Or the other thing that we're forgetting in Cyprus is like we have 20 minutes in the mountains. So in 20 minutes, you might be doing snowboarding. There is time that you do snowboarding. In 20 minutes, you can be on the beach. This is then one of the nice things that I believe. It's unique. The other stuff, I will let Mario's incentives to elaborate. He said his job to promote this, so I will not delve into. I'm here to report, tell the stories out there that I'm doing the last maybe 10 years. I did a lot of interviews. I attended more than 1,000 events. The last Panayotis knows, events in Cyprus and events in also abroad. And yeah, that's it. Thanks.
Excellent. I will take the point, Panis, from your presentation related to the expats. And I would like to remind ourselves that the Greek Cypriot and Turkish Cypriot community out there is all over the place, with a bright example of the Greek Cypriot Denis Kasapis, which he is the founder of DeepMind, a company that got acquired by Google for $6 billion to lead the artificial intelligence work of Google. Is led by Greek Cypriot, and we are very happy for him. Recently, he used the AI to decode proteins, something that he could easily give him the Nobel Prize, and that will be the second Cypriot that gets the Nobel Prize after Mr. Sir Pisaridis got the prize in economics. So here we have an island that is geographically located between Asia, Arabic Peninsula, Africa, and Europe. We are actually in the right spot to connect all these regions and countries next to us. And Mr. Marios Tannousis, CEO of Cyprus Invest, can tell us a little bit about the benefits for you know, as a digital nomad to come over here or bring your business here. Then we heard Panayotis from CYRIC, the largest research organization, about the capability that we have as an island to fast prototype ideas through the research, private or public research organizations. And then if there is something useful, put it inside Gravity, a part of the global network of incubators, if I understood right, Panayotis, and then breed or, you know, kind of like brew that particular idea into something useful. And in addition to that, we have Tracy, a digital nomad that actually chose Cyprus, and he can tell us a little bit more why he actually chosen Cyprus to come and be here as an entrepreneur and as a startupper. And then Panis, thank you very much for inviting to join as well. So you can tell us a little bit about how the market of the startups is developing here in Cyprus. So Mr. Marios Tannousis, as the CEO of Cyprus Invest, I heard that last October you managed to register more than 1,000 companies in a single night and bring 1,000 startups and big business into Cyprus. How did you manage to do that thing? It's incredible.
Well, thank you, Sodiris. It was not, of course, over a single night, but everything started from incentives that were introduced back in 2019, the initial round of incentives. And then, you know, without, of course, knowing what would happen with the pandemic and all these things that everybody suffered, these initial incentives basically were to give the ability of non-EU employees, specifically in tech professions, and we have done a research. We talked to the CEOs of the main tech companies in the country, and in order to identify the shortage of talent which they are facing, and in an effort to help them and help also, the sector, we have suggested to the minister's cabinet 29 professions for non-EU employees to be able to come to work in Cyprus with fast-track procedures. So immediately when this measure passed, that was the first one, you could see people beginning to come in, in order to work in tech companies. And we got the feedback that, the scheme works, so we supported it. And then, of course, you had several other geopolitical situations. You had the COVID, that technology had, fast forwarded everything. In terms of additional incentives, the second round of incentives was significantly a package which helped not only the companies, but also the employees. So the second package had to do with tax incentives for employees that were receiving a certain amount of salary and above. 50% of the income was tax deductible. Combining that with the fact that Cyprus has one of the lowest corporate tax in the European Union for companies, you had now also an attractive tax regime for employees. So it was possible to attract non-EU employees, from the nearby countries, even from India, for example, which is very good in technology, have them work in Cyprus with a nice package. And also, in addition to the incentives mentioned, it was also allowed for the spouses to be able to work, coming with the experts. So you have family reunification in a way. The whole family could be in Cyprus working, and under the so-called fast-track facilitation unit, which works under the Ministry of Energy and Commerce, the so-called business facilitation unit now, working in tandem with the Invest Cyprus and the companies and the service providers. We are able to promote and explain this package of incentives, these rounds of incentives, and it was very well taken by the industry, by the tech companies here, which talk to other tech companies across the globe. We had also, the invasion of Russia into Ukraine, and that led also into another important wave of inquiries into companies, especially US companies that were exiting Russia and were looking for reliable destinations to continue their operations. Also from countries in the Middle East, we had been receiving important investments from multinationals, but even, without geopolitical issues, even companies like, for example, MUFG, the big Mitsubishi conglomerate, a Japanese one, which these companies, they do benchmark and they do scrutinize the jurisdictions before they invest in. They decided to set up a big operation in Limassol with 300 people, Mitsubishi. On the other hand, you have Nurex, one of the most successful companies in fintech, providing services and software into global banking giants like HSBC, like Citibank. They decided to set up a big operation in Cyprus, in Nicosia, with now 150 people, growing up to 300 people by the end of the year. So large multinationals, brand name, as well as smaller multinationals, we have seen in 2022 an inbound of 9,000 tech-related experts moving into the country. So this large inflow of talent into a country which had about 15,000, between 15 and 60,000 of tech-related, plus 9. And that's 2022 with 2023 figures. We are looking at now at Cyprus with close to 30,000 tech experts, tech-related experts in tech companies, and we are looking at the ICT tech sector to be becoming one of the most important contributors to the GDP of the country, to the economy. So we are very, let's say, excited of this development, and we plan to continue supporting this great sector, and supporting the tech companies, creating jobs and contributing to economic development. And at the same time, we are also helping our region to develop as a hub for technology.
Mr. Tannousis, what can I say? I mean, it's amazing work. Thank you for helping us becoming a startup nation, or a startup island, because Startup Nation is the brand name for Israel. So
Right.
we can change it a little bit. They can have the Startup Nation. We can be the startup island, or the startup boat that everybody
Yes.
puts their business to this boat, the so-called Cyprus. I have to admit that after 20 years abroad, the first thing that basically I got to see in Limassol is that you have converted the whole city into the Miami of Europe. So well done. But it's getting a little bit expensive over there, so we have to watch out a little bit on that front. Nevertheless, Panayotis, 30,000 experts, but you're there to support those experts with rapid prototyping, with the infrastructure that you have, the facilities, from 3D printer to, building a robot from the scratch. I mean, how do we support this incoming flow of high-tech people into being able to, kind of like start their own business if they want to become entrepreneurs? How you and Gravity are supporting this mission?
Yeah, thank you, Zabiri. Yes, definitely. As SARIC and as Gravity, we are focused in supporting deep tech startups and SMEs, of course. We have seen also, as mentioned before, a lot of tech people, but also a lot of companies bringing their R&D into Cyprus. There is a specific reason for this, I believe, also because of the incentive of high people. So as SARIC, basically, we can help both startups as also SMEs, small companies, and other individuals that they would like to do fast prototyping in technology, especially in the hardware. Okay, in the software, of course, there is in Cyprus at this moment a very large number of software development experts. I will focus a little bit more on the deep technologies, which involve more hardware, which is much more difficult, not only in Cyprus, but also generally in Europe to find experts, because usually infrastructure you can find at universities. I should mention also that we have 3 public universities, and at this moment from 7 we go to 9 private universities. Of course, the biggest infrastructures we see, it's also in the public universities, but also on 6 new centers of excellence. There was a 30 million investment to each one of them. They have a tremendous infrastructure, and now they are opening their doors to assist also the ecosystem. And I believe also technology companies that they are interested to receive assistance, not only also from SARIC and Gravity, but they can also go to this center of excellence, which are more open to assist companies. From our side, of course, because we have also the expertise, especially if it's a startup, to dive in deep, not only on the technology, but also on the business aspect. And this is very important because we believe we can, let's say USP, we can help a lot a startup to find where is the product fitting in the market. And sometimes at the beginning you say, oh, I'm going to develop this, I want to develop this robot. But at the end of the day, when you dive into the market and speak really with potential customers, you realize that you should change this product. And this is where we jump in. Usually Incubator does that, accelerators do this. So we are working with the startups in order to define precisely what is this product that will make the difference in the global market. Because we're not working on technologies that will sell in Cyprus. Cyprus is very small, but the technologies that will compete and will get the next investment. So at Gravity, we are actually also investors, the first investors. You will not find many incubators because most of them are publicly also funded. We are not getting, we are actually investing. So we are the first investors at very early stage, but our aim is to help these startups to get the next investment from VCs. So we need to do basically everything together and help them in order to get them prepared for this investment. And typically our startups, they reach to a level where they may worth from 3 to 6 million in average. And in order to prepare these startups, it needs a lot of work. Sometimes it takes years. We have no limits of years in our incubator, so we have no graduations. Each startup receives a specific package where we design exactly its roadmap every year. So, and one is different from the other. So we have, we're actually sector agnostic. So it can be in any sector. So we have medical, we have health tech, we have advanced materials, we have robotics. We have really many sectors, industry sectors, but also horizontal. So we have even startups that are working in synthetic DNA, in various, let's say, even in fitness, artificial intelligence, blockchain. We have also, so it's a variety of technologies, and that means that startups that they come to Cyprus, not only they will get benefit from the incentives, but and also it's the standard of living, but also they can get support in order to to fast develop their MVP, either if it's a software or if it's a hardware. And wherever we cannot assist them, we can get the help either locally from other institutions that they have the infrastructure, or through the EBN network. We can even get assistance from other incubators or from other institutions within Europe. Cyprus, for example, just to give you an indication, the last 10 years, we have coordinated more than 70 million euro projects in deep tech. So we know how to take from TRL1 product and take it to the TRL line to manufacturing. Of course, in Cyprus, we don't have facilities like electronics manufacturing and so on. However, there are sectors that we can help the startups go to TRL line, especially in the more like robotics, in the more, I would say, engineering, let's say, and more materials, let's say, technologies. There, we even have startups that we have developed and constructed factories for them, and they are now manufacturing products in Cyprus, and everything was done 100% here. So I think it's very important for technology companies that when they come to a very small island, to understand that they can get help even in very complicated developments for their, let's say, products.
So Cyprus Invest gives the instruments and the proposition related to the financial proposition for relocating into Cyprus, the tax planning, the benefits that individuals or the company itself might have for moving to Cyprus. And you, Panayotis, bring the part that, and your companies bring the part related to the research, if that particular company wants to expand its research and look into more futuristic stuff, advanced things like robotics, drones, artificial intelligence, plus that you can act as the incubator for their corporate innovation or the spin-offs from that corporate innovation. And then as an angel investor yourself, you could invest, and you have done it, multiple startups as far as I know, and then bring those startups into your hub and help them to grow, correct?
Yes, unfortunately, because on the deep tech startup world, that are not really investors at the early stage. So typically, a startup will get either a grant, funding, or go to an accelerator or an incubator. And that's where we actually stand in the middle as an incubator, because we not only do the first part, which acceleration, we call it like as a pre-incubation, we do the incubation, we do the post-incubation. Because in order for an XBC to invest, let's say in a medical diagnostic device, the startup has to develop the actual technology. They must do the IP, they must submit their patents, it has to be strong, they must have an MVP. Only just these steps, it may cost them from 1 to 2 million. So this is actually a problem that we see around Europe, of course. We had actually a panel last week in our EBN Congress, and it was one of the discussions that Europe generates 33% of new technologies in the world. However, in the market on the deep tech, we are actually on around 10%. So everybody wondering, where is this 20+%? Where is lost in Europe? And the problem is exactly this, is the death valley of deep tech startups, where they, in order to be ready for VC investors, they have to reach to a certain level their technology. And that takes a lot of money, a lot of effort, and a lot of years. So this is where we jump in and help. I mean, even we, of course, as an incubator, we get equity in return of either the cash or the in-kind contributions. But this is where we jump in and we can identify and help startups. We sometimes even lend personnel in order to build the MVP much faster, so they can move faster and make, let's say, their first agreements with for sales and corporates in order to be ready for the VC investors.
Excellent. So we saw the institutional support, the government, the laws, the financial planning. We saw the incubation, the business angels background, and the research. But the most important thing, as we can all agree, is the human capital. And we have together with us Tracy Spaight, that basically his CV most probably is like 3 to 5 pages long with all these special projects that he has done. But he's a brilliant example of high-tech guru that we manage with our collective efforts to bring him to Cyprus and stay here. So Tracy, can you tell us a little bit about your story?
Sure. Let's see. I guess I've worn a lot of hats in my career. I've been a filmmaker, a game designer. I've authored books. I've run archaeological digs. So it's quite eclectic, but maybe it makes sense looking backwards, like connecting the dots, as Steve Jobs had said. But before I was in Cyprus, I was basically in California. So I was working with wargaming in our San Francisco office and running various content marketing sorts of projects, and built a lot of partnerships with leading museums, including like the USS Iowa Museum out in Los Angeles, and then later many leading museums in the UK, from the Imperial War Museum, the RAF Museum, the Bovington Tank Museum, the National Museum of the Royal Navy, and so on, where we basically figured out, gosh, many museums don't have the in-house technical expertise to do augmented reality or virtual reality sorts of installations. So I built partnerships with companies like Google, Microsoft, Apple, and we helped take our know-how from the gaming industry and apply that into museums. And the idea was, gosh, if you like seeing battleships and tanks and airplanes and the rest, maybe you'd like our game too. So it was sort of win for both parties. Museums got to connect with digital natives using the kind of technologies and ways they like to interact with history. And we got exposure to a great audience. So I had the opportunity in 2013 to move from our San Francisco office to Cyprus. And I thought, well, okay, that would be quite a change. And the funny thing is, somewhere along the way, I guess I got kissed by the goddess, Aphrodite's island after all, and decided I kind of like it here. And I'm always met with incredulity, like, you came from California, the Golden Land, why would you come to Cyprus? I'm like, if you only knew. First off, our tax exposure in California is huge. So the cost of living is insane, and there's so many people there. And I found I really liked the pace of life here. I like that I'm a half hour away from beautiful mountains in Troodos, or if I go to the north side in the Kyrenia Mountains, we have some of the best beaches in Europe, and the cost of living is really quite reasonable. And as a historian, I'm enjoying it immensely. I mean, right down the street from me, I have the Venetian walls that ring our beautiful city. And my neighbor is the Archbishop with his 18th century palace and the new cathedral there. There's a 12th century church right behind me, St. Antonius, and I hear the bells every day. So it's kind of a wonderful place to live. And the incentives were part of the attraction, certainly. So I was one of the beneficiaries of the, what they call the half tax rate. So it's 50% tax rate. And that's been wonderful. Can't complain there. And since then, I've set up my own company, just sort of as a holding for all my various ventures. And there's all kind of wonderful incentives around that as well, that I can take part of my compensation as untaxed dividends. I can invest it into various things here in Cyprus without capital gains. And like, where else am I going to find this? I guess I could, maybe move to Dubai and stop being a US citizen, and maybe that would be good. But I like our island. So yeah, Innovation Island.
Innovation Island, that's a nice brand name for us. Thanks.
Yeah, little iteration. I trademarked it right before, so yeah.
Even the little Innovation Island will be good enough. It's not a problem. Panis, thank you very much, Tracy. Panis, your thoughts about why Cyprus? I mean, you have seen the evolution. You have been in the...
Yeah, I have seen the evolution. Actually, I think I need to write something we discussed with Philimis in the past. I might be the guy that I need to write a book about this evolution. slowly. Maybe
tell us about the evolution. Like,
I mean,
how it was
as I have said in the past, there was, I believe in the past we had more startups, but we were missing on the venture capital fund. That the venture capital fund came the last 2-3 years, and it actually is coming right now. Maybe in other places around the world, the venture are reducing the venture capital fund investments, etc. But I believe right now Cyprus it's in a pivotal scene that I know that at least the Cyprus Equity Fund is coming, some other funds are coming, and they're looking for Cypriot-based companies to invest. So I believe that will give a lot of boost in the ecosystem. More also the startup and the tech innovation ecosystem. There is discussions that we did with other people of the tech and IT ecosystem. They believe that we need to reach a magic number in terms of volume. I mean, we need to reach the magic number of 100,000 IT specialists being the island and built in here or working for a company like JetBrains, for example, that it was an example like Murex, Mario's, like JetBrains that came here, Nexters or Amdocs or whoever company we have here. We need to reach that magic number because all these 100,000 people, IT specialists, will slowly think like Tracy. I mean, coming at one point, they will open their own startup. They are going, and they would like Cyprus. They will stay in Cyprus. You will start having, these spillovers effects down the line and down the years. That I believe, and this is also a message for entrepreneurs out there. One of the problems we have in Cyprus, I like to mention also problems when I talk. I don't mention only the good stuff. I believe we have problems and we need to solve them. We can solve them with collaboration and other stuff. One of the problems that actually we have right now, I believe, we have support from the government. We have VCs. I believe we need to see the mindset a bit of the entrepreneurs. In the Cypriot entrepreneurs, they don't try to build global. They don't have that mindset. Actually, it's pretty much the same like Europe. In a lot of European countries, it's the same. It's not like US that the entrepreneur is aggressive, a more risk taker. It's in the US culture to be more aggressive and more take more risks, etc. And it's something that I believe we need to work. And because, again, Okay, Philimis, Marios might be disagree, but I believe we need volume of startups, even if a lot of them they will fail. But we need this volume, this critical mass, even that we know that maybe 9 of them or 8 of them will fail. We need this volume. This is what you see also in Israel and other more advanced and more mature and more growing. They have volume. And we need to start building the next 2-3 years, find ways or initiatives or policies actually to start building that volume, even if we lose some quality along the way. It doesn't matter for me. The volume will bring other benefits, and I believe that should be the way forward at least the next 3-5 years. Yeah.
Very good. Panis, we do have some events like Tech Island and Reflect.
We have a lot of events. Currently in Limassol, we have business, tech, innovation events every night. Every night. I'm doing also 2-3 monthly events about fintech, blockchain. Other people are doing, especially in Limassol, especially the fintech scene is buzzing. That's why Murex came to the island. It's not by a mistake. There are other big fintech. I mean, we need to double down on the financial industry. We need to become more, it's one of the industries that we need to look after. Also, another event that is coming, the Cyprus FinTech Summit. This is one of the biggest events about fintech in Cyprus. We have Reflect also. We have other events coming, the iGaming, one of the biggest iGaming industries events is coming. The big event, Sigma World, is coming. We have the IFIX Expo event. The fintech sector is something that I believe because we have also, you know, with the funds industry here, Marios can tell more. He is the one that built actually the funds industry in Cyprus also. But we have this sector. We need to double down on this sector. But of course, we need to see also other sectors like deep tech and other sectors along the way. Sorry.
Yeah, excellent. So I'm just summarizing all the time. So we saw from Mr. Tannousis and the CEO of Invest Cyprus, the institutional support for making Cyprus a startup nation, a startup island, by giving incentives, financial incentives, tax to digital nomads, small, medium size, or whatever kind of size of company would like to relocate into Cyprus. So there is an organization for that. There is policies, there is laws, procedures. We can handle it. And if I understood right, Mr. Marios, we have the lowest taxes percentage in the whole Europe. Did you mention that? Or
Yes. The corporate tax of 12.5% is one of the lowest in the European Union. So that's very attractive to companies, and you know, at the end of the day, they can reinvest more, they can have more growth, you know. So definitely it's an advantage. But I think combining also the fact that there is safety and security and you know, the quality of life that was mentioned by Tracy before, you know, it's very easy to understand the value when, you know, that, you know, people that are working in tech companies, for example, that they come to Cyprus, you know, they have their children in the school and they can go to the school, pick up the children, come home and have even lunch with the children and then go back to work. That process of having a lunch with the family, you know, with the children by itself, you know, has a lot of value, you know. That you cannot have, I think, in many other places across the globe. You know, this luxury of being able to, you know, see the kids, you know, during the lunch break, or the safety, the high quality of life that the island, you know, offers. This is again, you know, something that cannot be measured in terms of term. But definitely the fact that we are giving a lot of attention to fast tracking and helping companies, individuals, experts, families to settle in Cyprus. This makes the life easier, and the launching for the companies and the setups much more smooth. And I would like to take the opportunity to say that our organization is open, for suggestions that investors are having, tech experts are having, in order to even further enhance the investment environment. And like I say, Invest Cyprus is the house of investors, the house of foreign investors. So, should be very, easy, and feel free to call us, email us, reach to us, come to our offices, and we can discuss things together in order to further help, the companies and the individuals.
Excellent. And it's solid because it's phenomenal what you achieved, bringing 30,000 digital nomads and tech experts, registering 1,000 companies in a few nights, if it's not only one. So very well done, Mr. Tannousis, on your effort.
Thank you. And it's a joint effort with all the departments of the government, the ministries, with the private sector, the service providers. It's all, part of Team Cyprus. We are just one part of the value chain, and for something to succeed, all parts in that value chain need to work together. And we are happy that we are working all together to achieve these great results for the country, for the people, and creating jobs and growth.
And in addition to the institutional tools, we heard today that CYRIC and Gravity as an incubation and research organization can support rapid prototyping, bring kind of like entrepreneurs and help them out to make their dreams reality, and then incubate them inside the Gravity Incubator. Panayotis, I don't know if maybe you want to mention the EU research grants and programs that you enable enable companies or startups to have access into EU money grants. The horizon is like a couple of billions of euros. So through you, startups, entrepreneurs can have a reliable partner to go for those EU grants and budgets.
I've mentioned before that deep tech startups, they need money in order to develop their technology. And for this reason, that we have the other national funds or European funds through Horizon. And it's essential being supporters of innovation and deep tech startups to be masters on this and help the startups to apply and receive grants in order to develop their technology. And this is very essential. Otherwise, they will not be able to get the next investment from VCs. So we have many instruments now in Europe beyond just the standard Horizon calls. We have also the EIC Accelerator now with various schemes, also low TRL. There is now the EIC Transition and also the EIC Accelerator going up to 2.5 million equity free and plus 15 million investment requesting. And of course, we can help the startups to apply for this. So this is something that they can do here in Cyprus. But I think the incentives that combined, let's say, with the investment incentives of from Invest Cyprus, but also the IP box, which is also very important because the IP box has an 80% deduction on the tax. So if a company is selling IP, either this is in the form of a patent or it's a license of a technology, you get an 80% deduction. That means the taxation goes from 12.5% to 2.5%. I think it's very important, especially for technology companies. So whoever comes here in Cyprus and they want to establish their own company and start, let's say, developing. Also, there is now a research incentive on R&D expenses. So the company now has an R&D expense, they can get a deduction in the tax of 20% on their R&D expenses. I think also this is very important to mention. So SARI comes to help and assist technology companies, but at the same time, it's not only the technology, but also is the business in order as an incubator to assist a startup entrepreneur to see also the market side of their product, and especially on technology and radical ideas and breakthrough ideas. And at Gravity, we like to make an impact. I would say that we're like impact investors. We like our startups to have a huge impact, either this is social or environmental. So we mentioned about robots and so on, but we have also startups that they work in biochemicals, also in environment. So which is also a very important impact nowadays. So I think all these things are very important for an entrepreneur or a digital nomad or anyone that comes to Cyprus that wants to build their own company and work in the technology sector, that they can find things here, and we can help them also if there is something that is not here, to help them actually reach out in Europe or elsewhere through our network.
Yeah, thank you, Panayotis, for this. I mean, it's not only about the money. Definitely, it's not only about the money. I mean, money, probably Dubai has more. But as far as I understood, Tracy is telling us also that Cyprus is a fun place to be because of the meze and the souvla and the dance and the wine and the beaches and whatever else we have over there. Is that correct, Tracy?
Everything's here. You might have to look a little more, but it's here. You have a great underground music scene. I've made many friends on both sides of the island. I've done great Tai Chi classes with Turkish and Greek Cypriots. I learned to drum with a very international drum circle. It's all here. You just have to look around a bit, but you'll find it.
Very good. And Panis told us that basically we have a vibrant also conference, high-tech conference scene with multiple conferences held annually into the country for various subjects, not only high-tech, health, financial, right, Panis?
Yeah. Well, we have a vibrant conference scene and event scene and meetup scene. We need to double down, I believe, in all this. If you are an angel investor while watching our discussion and you are in a regional country nearby, I would suggest to come down in the island, check it out. You can speak any of us here if you need any help to help you out. And also what I want to, it's a suggestion that because Marius mentioned education and the break with the family, it's something that we need to develop more is more schools for these people. I mean, the government needs to come down on this, and I believe it needs to be done find ways to do it fast though, because Invest Cyprus is doing their job. They're bringing a lot of companies, a lot of people. If we're lacking a bit in some elements of infrastructure, then we will have a problem. And all this work that has been done the last 5 years, maybe it will start creating other problems in the social element of each city. So we need to find the proper balance on that and double down to that number that I have said of 100,000 IT specialists in the island. People can come with their families, they can come with their, and then I believe we will have something very, very good to show in a global scale in the next 5 years. We already have something. It's not so, in my opinion, we need some more It's more like maybe a more unified approach in branding this outside. You know, a lot of our people, they can do, I mean, Innovation Island, Tech Island, we're here a lot. So maybe it's something that maybe Invest Cyprus can lead on that. I don't know who is going to lead on that, but we need a bit more unified approach. Start branding a bit more targeted and our island. But anyhow, any approach, the best branding is people like Tracy that they're here and they go and talk to their international network. For me, that's the community branding through community is the best way to do it. I mean, and yeah, I'm available at panispierre.com if anybody wants to have a talk, etc. You can find me in LinkedIn personally. I have helped. Actually, today I had 2 Cypriots that they want to come back and they want to find a job. Actually, Marius commented to send me a message also because I know you have a platform in Invest Cyprus. I don't know if it's still there. But yeah, I mean, that's the way forward. Thanks.
Very good, Panis, thank you very much for the participating. Now to conclude, because we only had have 120 minutes in total, I would like to thank once again everybody who participate in this roundtable. Why Cyprus is a good tech island hub, or the little innovation island in the Middle East. We heard Mr. Tannousis from Invest Cyprus about the tax benefits, tax planning. We heard Panayotis Philimis from CEO of Cyric related to boosting research and incubation and fast prototyping. We heard from Tracy about the good life, the sun, the food, the yoga and the Tai Chi, and also from Panis about the vibrant ecosystem of conferences, startups, and a little bit of the problems that this thing brings into a country. It's very obvious that we have to look into the negative parts as well, not only into the positive. So with these words, I would like to thank you once again for having the time, invest the time to be here, share your thoughts, tell about the good work that you have done. And if you don't have anything else to add, I would like to say good night, close the recording, and get some rest. What do you think?
Sounds good. Thanks so much. Very much enjoyed it.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. And have a good night, everybody. And feel free to reach us. Thank you very much. Bye.
Thank you.
Gentlemen, thank you very much. Bye-bye.